When you cast a spell, a love spell to other people, what happens is that this love spell, the spell is gonna fall upon the witch. Whoever did that to another person will return to you. So you become obsessed with that people, another person. Okay, so don't worry about what time your girlfriend, wife, or your husband or boyfriend returns home. It's his life. Live yours. You know, he going to die separate from you. He wasn't born together with you. There's no such thing as the soulmate or soul. How do you say? Twin flame. That's the rubbish that the new age constructed, created. There's no such thing. Your twin flame is another thing. It's your oversoul. It's not somebody stand out to you in avatar wise or uh, personality wise. So relationships are sacred because they provide life's greatest opportunity. Indeed, it's an opportunity to create and produce experience of your highest conceptualization of self, relations of self. So you go into a relationship because you want to experience something, so to learn for yourself, not to spy on other people's life, to control other people's life. That's ridiculous for a man or a woman to behave this way. Relationships fail, especially so when the guy or the woman is older than another. Then becomes worse. The kind of this obsession becomes worse in the relationship. You know, when you marry an idiot like that, you know they will close even the curtains in the winds because they are afraid that someone is looking at you. This person like this are sick, very very sick man or woman, especially man. But woman, a lot of women like that. Those are obsessed woman. Bubble gum is a kind of glue woman who cannot stay without another person because she don't have self-worth. See, neither she have she's not self-sufficient. She doesn't have high self-esteem because once she do, she will learn that she is enough for herself. She don't need another person to complete her. Relationships fail when you see them as a life greatest opportunity to create and produce the experience of your highest conceptualization of another. Let each person in relationship worry about self, themselves, not other. What the self is being, doing, and having. What the self is wanting, asking, giving. What the self is seeking, creating, experiencing. And all relationships would magnificently serve their purpose and their participants. I'm like that, but it's not enough for a slave driver who wants everything their way and want people to serve them. I'm not like this. I'm not in a relationship to serve nobody. You serve yourself. They say do it yourself, and so do I. You understand? I'm like that. I'm like that because I don't expect nobody to serve me, to help me even when I'm dying or sick. I make myself healed again and healthy again and strong again. I don't expect the people to come and help me and serve me. Okay, and I don't want it. I don't want that the person to need me. I want him to be independent as I am. And I don't want to need nobody either. Let each person in relationship worry not about the other, but only about self. Okay? Let each person in relationship worry not about the other, but only about self. This seems a strange teaching, not for me. I think I'm so evolved that since I was young, I was like that. So evolved that I knew it already. This seems a strange teaching, for you have been told that in the highest form of a relationship, one worries only about the other. Yet I tell you this, your focus upon the other, your obsession, exactly your obsession with the other is what causes relationships to fail, because you feel like you cannot breathe, you feel binded, you feel that you have taken the least freedom that you have with a person like that. This kind of person is toxic. They even do sicko who see woman go to work and he instead of helping her, send her to work, he go around looking for her and stalking her behind pillar, behind the trees, behind buildings. Because this person, this man or even a woman, they own up so much, they are so guilty that they see themselves through the other person they are spy upon, because they have done the crap thing, have betrayed in the relationship, that he feels so guilt that he'll think, if I did that, she or he also is up to it. They too are up to no good, and they will end up stalking that person, marking every minute later or second that they come back. Why you are so late? Where have you been? Calling. There's a woman and even men who call the workplace. Where are you? What you are doing? Why you come back so late? What time you come back? This is not a life. This is not a relationship. This is suffocation. Nobody needs this kind of a relationship for freedom and intelligence's sake. I guess that any woman and a man out there who are sane enough, emotionally strong and healthy will not want that for themselves. Will not want to stay in this kind of a relationship, because this is poisonous. It is damned to fail soon or later. So now this seems a strange teaching, for you being told that in the highest form of a relationship one worries only about the other. Yet I tell you this, your focus upon the other, your obsession with the other is what causes relationships to fail. What's the other being? What is the other doing? What's the other having? What's the other saying? Wanting? Demanding? What's the other thinking? Expecting? Planning? This is obsession. Damn, I hate this kind of paranoid people. The master understands that it doesn't matter what the other is being, doing, having, saying, wanting, demanding. It doesn't matter what the other is thinking, expecting, planning. It only matters what you are being in that relationship to that. The most loving person is the person who is self-centered. Exactly, because he have enough for himself, he self-realized, as he do it what he wishes for himself or for herself, she wishes for the other, because he self-realized. As I am self-realized, I will give the same opportunity in dependency to other people to be and do as they please. After all, they have to answer for the cosmos themselves. I have nothing to do with that person's life, that person's soul part. Okay? Because each one of us came here with a mission of sorts, between parentheses. So why should I obsess about what my children is being? What their father is being? What my mother, my father, my siblings are being? I can't. I need to live and let live. Okay? But no, when we are being like this, we are still not being good enough for many people. Because they want us to be the opposite so as to give them reason for them to judge us and to abuse us. So when you are being like that, so self-confident, so independent, so free, we are not good enough for these people. Because these people are not conscious, they are not intelligent or conscious enough. That is a radical teaching. Oh man, because you are being this obsessed Virgo man might be obsessed into control freak. I don't like to be a control freak. My zodiac sign is Virgo, Sun, Aries, Moon, which is rapid, fast, and free. I like freedom and adventure. I like adventures and freedom. And my ascendant is my rising sun is Leo. Leo is a control freak, but I'm not. I hate to control. I really do hate. So I'm being taxed for it. I'm being judged for being so like carefree, carefree. Like my motto is to live and let live. My pets, my children. I'm not going to control their lives because I believe that we are here to live our own missions. If the lives of our children we don't own, we raise kids for the world, not for ourselves. For all the obsessive and control freak parents out there, we do not raise children for our own, but for the world, to let them lead their own path freely as once designed by nature. Not if you look at it, that's a radical teaching. Not if you look at it carefully. If you cannot love yourself, you cannot love another. Many people make the mistake of seeking love of self through love for another. Of course, they don't realize they are doing this. It's not a conscious effort. It's what's going on in the mind, deep in the mind, in what you call the subconscious. There is a woman who cannot go to a market nearby alone. They need a man together. And they see it as very loyal and very close camp couple. You're very close, you cannot detach yourself. This is ridiculous. Give each other space and trust yourself in another. They think, if I can just love others, they will love me. That doesn't work this way. Then I will be lovable. And I can love me. They think if I can just love others, they will love me. Then I will be lovable. And I can love me. And I can love me. The reverse of this is that so many people hate themselves because they feel there is not another who loves them. This is a sickening sea. It's when people are truly love sick. Because the truth is, other people do love them, but it doesn't matter. No matter how many people profess their love for them, it's not enough. Correct. Because you don't love yourself, dude. You need to love yourself first before you demand love from others. And if you demand love for others because you are egocentric, for what? I don't give a damn whether people love me or not. If you love me is a favor. If you don't, it's two favor you give to me. That's how strong-minded I am. I really, that phrase, I don't give a damn, that's imbued inside me. Just if someone tells you that they love you, first they don't believe you. They think you are trying to manipulate them, trying to get something. It can happen. Why should we blame those people who think this way? It does happen all the time. People who use the word love to manipulate and get what they want from the other. It's true. It's very true. How could you love them for who they truly are? No. There must be some mistake. You must want something. Now, what do you want? Correct. It happens, I think, like this. They sit around trying to figure out how anyone could actually love them. So they don't believe you. And embark on a campaign to make you prove it. I don't do that. I don't give a damn. I say, people say, I love you. Okay, thank you. That's it. Coolly. I don't have to wait back. Oh, I love you too. This is hypocrisy. I just don't care. Okay, cool. Don't worry. Don't worry, cool. You have to prove that you love them. To do this, they may ask you to start altering your behavior. I will never do that. Never. Second, if they finally come to a place where they can believe you love them, they begin at once to worry about how long they can keep your love. So in order to hold onto your love, they start altering their behavior. Just two people literally lose themselves in a relationship here, losing the ability to move the other and do what the other one. That's not living. This is visitating to me, because you are not living the wish of your soul. They get into the relationship hoping to find themselves, and they lose themselves instead, lose the identity, lose the Mary and the Tom. This losing of the self in a relationship is what causes most of the bitterness in such couplings. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Who wants to lose who we are, our culture, maybe our the way how you have raised to mold the other. In the case of how to say, in a case of um, biracial marriage or bicultural marriage, where two people have to mold into another. The best thing is to be neutral and to forget each other's culture or celebrate each other's culture. But in some cases, with the men is the East, the woman from the West, the Occident, I say West to Occident, that men from the East would want the woman from the Occident to mold into their culture, and it also can happen with the men from the Occident wanting the woman from the East to mold into to meld into their culture. And they don't want to do, because this is selfish and see, and you cannot overnight expect somebody to forget their culture. If you are open-minded enough, intelligent enough, and self-conscious enough, not a old school from the 30s and the 40s kind of mentality, you will understand and then comply. When you reach a compromise, everybody will be happy, because you respect your wife culture and you respect your husband culture. It's give and take, not just one take. When you want so much take in a relationship, it is bound to go to hell. The one who are giving, doing all the giving, will become resentful, hateful, angry. Okay? It become angry. And that's not good. And also there's a case where the man or even the woman is older than another. Then what happens? One will try to control another because, I'm older. I'm the one who called the shots here. I'm the wiser one. It is bound to create a rift in the relationship. Because if the person is older, but the abuser, he's old, but he's not old enough to understand that you need to set a barrier and respect other people's wishes, the one who are younger in the relationship as well. Like say, I never had a younger guy in my life, okay? I met a man older than I, 12 years older, but if I had a younger person, and the relationship. I will understand his how to say his generation. I understand his generation. If he were born in the 80s, I will understand where he come from, why he's like this, why his mentality, his mindset is different from me who were born in the 60s. Or if he were born in the 70s, I will understand. Okay? I don't understand. And I try not to control that person. Of course, I don't want nobody. Much that I never like younger men. Never. Never. The youngest guy of my age or younger than me try to approach me, I'll run miles away. Unless someone is younger than me. How to say, they are chronologically older or younger, but they are biologically same age or older than I, then it's okay. Or mentally same kind of mentality as me, then okay, it's okay, acceptable. And then a person who looks younger than I, who thinks the way younger than, for what I want to babysit? For what? For what? That's stupid. I need somebody who knows more than I, not less than I. You understand? But no, you don't fall for it. Because I married an idiot who were born in the 50s and I know no less than I. So in the sentimental and the justice aspect. The justice in emotional arena, this idiot no less than I. He's older, but much more moronic, stupid than I am. Which is something for me to learn, that age is not synonymous for you to be or not to be wise and matured. So, second, they sit around, try to figure out how anyone could actually love them. Second, if they finally come to a place where they can believe you love them, they begin to want to worry about how long they can keep your love. So, in order to hold onto your love, they start altering their behavior. Thus, two people literally lose themselves in a relationship. They got into the relationship hoping to find themselves, and they lose themselves instead. This losing of the self in a relationship is what causes most of the bitterness in such couples, and all the rift and all the tragedies. Correct. Two people join together in a partnership hoping that the whole will be greater than the sums of the parts, only to find that it is less. They feel less than when they were single. Correct. Less capable, less free, less able, less exciting, less attractive, less joyful, less content, less free. Because freedom is everything. When you rob freedom from other person, the other person, their free will, you rob everything from them. This is because they are less. They've given up most of who they are in order to be and to stay in their relationship. And sacrifices also that unfortunately many people do by circumstances, not even by chances. When we marry are violent. Relationships were never meant to be this way. Yet, this is how they are experienced by more people than you could ever know. Why? It's because people have lost touch with, if they ever were in touch with, the purpose of relationships. Correct. When you lose sight of each other as sacred souls on a sacred journey, then you cannot see the purpose, the reason behind all relationships. Those souls has come to the body and the body to life for the purpose of evolution. You are evolving, you are becoming, and you are using your relationship with everything to decide what you are becoming. Correct. And that is the case of the we. There's only one thing you can do. You must honor your feelings. For honoring your feelings means honoring yourself. And you must love your neighbor as you love yourself. How can you ever expect to understand and honor the feelings of another if you cannot honor the feelings within yourself? The first question in any interactive process with another is, now, who am I? And who do I want to be in relationship to that? Often you do not remember who you are and do not know who you want to be until you try out a few ways of being. This is why honoring your truest feelings is so important. If your first feelings is a negative feeling, simply having the feeling is frequently all that is needed to step away from it. Yeah, and don't be judgmental. Just think positive and let other people do as they please and you do as you please. Don't control and don't allow yourself to be controlled. That's simple. A simple recipe for happiness and being well with yourself, free of guilt, without impact to mass control upon another. Do unto others that which you want for yourself, the simple formula. It is when you have the anger, have the upset, have the disgust, have the rage, on the feeling of wanting to hurry back that can dissolve these past feelings as not who you want to be. The master is one who has lived through enough such experiences to know and advise what her final choices are. She does not need to try out anything. She is worn these clothes before and knows they do not fit. They are not her. And since a master's life is devoted to the constant realization of self, as one knows oneself to be, such ill-fitting feelings would never be entertained. That is why masters are imperturbable in the face of others might call calamity. A master blesses calamity, for the master knows that from the seeds of disaster in all experience comes the growth of self. And the master's second life purpose is always growth. For once one has fully self-realized, there is nothing left to do except be more of that. It's at this stage that one moves from soul work to God work. For this is what I'm up to. He is up to because he's doing God work because he wants to become a God. You understand? He's let's say a being, yeah, that comes from the cosmos just like us, but his mastery he lays to God himself. I'll assume for the purposes of this discussion that you are still up to soul works. You are still seeking to realize, make it real, who you truly are. Life, I will give you bountiful opportunities to create that. Remember, life is not a process of discovery. Life is a process of creation. You can create who you are over and over again. Indeed you do, every day. As things now stand, you do not always come up with the same answer. However, given an identical outer experience one day, you may choose to be patient, loving, and kind in relationship to it. On day 2, you may choose to be angry, ugly, and sad. Yeah, external influences also make a part of it. There are external influences, and when the people we are called of God, then we gonna be influenced easily. The master is the one who always comes up with the same answer. And that answer is always the highest choice. And in this, the master is eminently predictable. Conversely, the student is completely unpredictable. One can tell how one is doing on the road to mastery by simply noticing how predictably one makes the highest choice and responding or reacting to any situation. Of course, this throws up open the question, what choice is highest? That is a question around which have revolved the philosophies and theologies of men since the beginning of time. If the question truly gauges you, you are already on your way to mastery. For it is still true that most people continue to be engaged by another question altogether. Not what is the highest choice, but what's the most profitable, or how can I lose the least? When life is lived from a standpoint of damage control or optimum advantage, the true benefit of life is forfeited. The opportunity is lost. The chance is missed. For a life lived dulcely is a life lived from fear, and that life speaks a lie about you. For you are not fear, you are love. Love that needs no protection. Love that cannot be lost. Yet you will never know this in your experience if you continually answer the second question and not the first. For only a person who thinks there is something to gain or to lose asks the second question. And only a person who sees life in a different way, who sees self as a higher being, who understands that winning or losing is not the test, but only loving or failing to love, only that person asks the first. Okay, I'm gonna repeat again because this is very confused. Most people continue to be engaged by another question altogether. Not what's the highest choice, but what's the most profitable, or how can I lose the least? When life is lived from a standpoint of damage control, optimum advantage, the true benefit of life is forfeited. The opportunity is lost. The chance is missed. For a life lived justly is a life lived from fear, and that life speaks a lie about you. For you are not fear, you are love, love that needs no protection, love that cannot be lost. Yet you will never know this in your experience if you continually answer the second question and not the first. For only a person who thinks there is something to gain or to lose asks the second question. And only a person who sees life in a different way, who sees self as a higher being, who understands that winning or losing is not the test, but only loving or failing to love, only that person asks the first. He who asks the second question says, I am my body. She who asks the first says, I am my soul. Yeah, let all those who have ears to hear listen, for I tell you this, at the critical junction in all human relationships, there is only one question. What would love do now? No other question is relevant, no other question is meaningful, no other question has an importance to your soul. Now we come upon a very delicate point of interpretation. For this principle of love sponsored action has been widely misunderstood, and it is this misunderstanding which has led to the resentments and angers of life, which in turn have caused so many to stray from the path. For centuries you have been taught that the love-sponsored actions arises out of the choice to be, do, and have whatever produces the highest good for another. Yet I tell you this, The highest choice is that which produces the highest good for you. For centuries you have been taught that love sponsored the actions arises out of the choice to be, do and have whatever produces the highest good for another. Yet I tell you this, the highest choice is that which produces the highest good for you. For you cannot be happy making other people happy. You cannot be happy only by making other people happy and you feel miserable. Both must be happy together. As with all profound spiritual truth, this statement opens itself to immediate misinterpretation. The mystery clears a bit the moment one decides what is the highest good one could do for oneself. And when the absolute highest choice is made, the mystery dissolves. The circle completes itself, and the highest good for you becomes the highest good for another. It may take lifetimes to understand this, and even more lifetimes to implement. For this truth revolves around an even greater one. What you do for yourself, you do for another. What you do for another, you do for the self. This is because you and the other are one. And this is because there is naught but you. All the masters who have walked your planet have taught this. Verily, verily, I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these my brethren, ye have done it unto me. Yet this has remained for most people merely a grand exoteric truth with a little practical application. In fact, it's the most practically applicable esoteric truth of all time. It's important in relationships to remember this truth, for without it relationships will be very difficult. Let's go back to the practical applications of this wisdom and step away from the purely spiritual esoteric aspect of it for now. However, in the religions, especially Orthodox Abrahamic religions, structure in system, the human are the one to must give all the giving and the man is the taker. Never mind about the money, man, because the woman also nowadays can go work. So what's the big deal about money here? It has never been about money. It has been about control over and not control with in the household. Okay? So that's what religion has contributed. It's important in relationships to remember this truth, for without it, relationships will be very difficult. Let's go back to the practical applications of this wisdom and step away from the purely spiritual, esoteric aspect of it for now. So often, under the old understandings, people, well-meaning and well-intentioned, and many very religious, did what they thought would be best for the other person and their relationships. And this would be what? The man is the taker, the woman is the giver. All this, sadly, all this produced in many cases, in most cases, was continued abuse by the other. Continued mistreatment, especially the male to the female, power over the male towards the female, continued dysfunction in the relationship in the home. Ultimately, the person tried to do what is right according to religion's tradition, religion code of conduct by the other, to be quick to forgive, to show compassion, to continually look past certain problems and behaviors, becomes resentful, angry, hateful and mistrusting even of God. For how can a just God demand such unneeding suffering, joylessness, and sacrifice even the name of love? Hey, and don't tell that's the male here. Huh? It's a male organized release that fomented all this, created all this. Ultimately, the person tried to do what is right by the other, to be quick, to forgive, to show compassion, to continually look past certain problems and behaviors, becomes resentful, angry, hateful, and mistrusting, even towards God, even towards God. Wrong English here. For how can a just God demand such unending suffering, joylessness in the home, etc., and sacrifice even in the name of love? No, they don't do this in the name of love. They do this in the name of culture, the name of tradition, the name of patriarchal religion, the name of the male's hierarchy. They never do it in the name of the other. The other is just that my pet, the woman in this case, my pet. She will be just the my pet, the servant, the childbearer, the even nowadays the money bringer. She's the rice and the breadwinner also, and she's the house cleaner or she employs a maid. Either way, that's the scenario you have today in our society all over the world. The answer is God does not. God asks only that you include yourself among those you love. And don't tell me that the men do sacrifice, please. Oh, because Mark and Johnny goes for the agriculture to plant. Hello, at the age 11 I have been planting with my mother cassava, melon, pumpkins, ladyfinger, tomato. Okay, we live in our orchard, and I have to clean the. You know how many leaves are there that the trees all um, the trees shed every day. How many plastic bags of dried leaves have to clean every day to plant that to feed the animals. So what's the big deal? Why if a little girl, a skinny girl of 11-year-old could do this after war, after study, going to study, come back, help mommy around, collect the eggs, collect fruits, etc. If she could do it, why not a male, a full-grown male? They have no shame or what? Where's the male's balls to do all that? If an 11-year-old girl could do, I would put, how to call that? It's a bunch. I don't know what the name is. A bunch. The whole bunch of banana. Each section of that bunch has about one. I'll say, one group of banana. You know how one of that kind of banana trunk. There is 5 bunch of it of bananas. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I have to carry that. I don't had to. I once have to help my mother. My mother never forced me, but I wanted to. Okay, I carry that thing on my back, either for consumption or for sale. I don't carry just a bunch of banana. It wants the whole trunk weigh as much as 30 kg. Okay, if a little girl could do that, because 11-year-old and my body is small. I weighed about 39 that time, 39 kg, skinny, small. If I could do this, why not a full-grown male? So what the big deal if the men go for walk? What the big deal? Everybody does that. Even nowadays in Asia, 90-year-old, 80-year-old go to work. Grandmas, grandpa. What's the big deal? For 30-year-old male, 20-year-old male go for work. What's the big deal? Ridiculous. They keep put the male on pedestal. They think on the male is the one, the God in the house to be protected, to be loved and cherished. They don't see, they don't recognize the role that the human place as well. And her one is even harder. The cooker, the cleaner, the child bearer, the child disciplinarian master, even sometimes go out to work to complement the family, or selling cakes at home, baking to sell. You think it's this? No, it isn't. In my culture, mothers, even if they stay home, they were venerated and respected as a goddess. Okay. Catholicism, the mother is the queen of the home in my culture in the Northeast Brazil. I'm not talking about, I don't speak for other part of Brazil. It's different, maybe different tradition. But in my Northeast, the woman was the queen of the home. And she's the chicken that sings bigger than the male. And if the male is not good enough, he had to go. If he's not responsible and hard working as she is, then he had to go. But I see a lot of culture that they pamper too much the male. This is a sick society and tradition that abuses women and even young girls. The best part of the chicken or the cow is given to the boys, the son, the father. The mother and the daughter, she cramps the rubbish, the leftovers. Is it right? Are the others only because they don't have a pendulum or a phallus less than the one that have phallus? Only because they don't have a phallus? They don't have the same respect and rights that the other that has a phallus has? Come on. Think. God goes further. So the answer is God does not. God asks us only that you include yourself among those few. This means crying so much. God goes further. God suggests, recommends that you put yourself first. I do this knowing full well that some of you will call this blasphemy, and therefore not my word, and that others of you will do what might be even worse. Accept it as my word and misinterpret or distort it to suit your own purposes, to justify ungodly acts. Why would they do that? By accept themselves and love themselves and also respect and accept others. What's so ungodly about that? I tell you this, putting yourself first is the highest thing, never leads to an ungodly act. If therefore you have caught yourself in an ungodly act as a result of doing what is best for you, the confusion is not in having put yourself first, but rather in a misunderstanding what is best for you. Of course, determining what is best for you will require you to also determine what it is you are trying to do. This is an important step that many people ignore. What are you up to? What is your purpose in life? Without the answers to these questions, the matter of what is best in any given circumstances will remain a mystery. As a practical matter, again leaving esoterics aside, if you look to what is best for you in these situations where you are being abused, at the very least, what you will do is stop the abuse. And that will be good for both you and your abuser. For even an abuser is abused when his abuse is allowed to continue. This is not healing to the abuser, but damaging. For if the abuser finds that his abuse is acceptable, what has he learned? Yet, if the abuser finds that his abuse will be accepted no more, what has he been allowed to discover? Therefore, treating others with love does not necessarily mean allowing others to do as they wish. there must be a barrier here. You need to trace a line. Depends what the others are doing. Are they do this for themselves, what is good or bad, or they are doing to others what is bad? There's the question to ask before we proceed to judge that person. What if she's defending herself from the abuse of this man? How about that? Supposedly he doesn't want to wash one fork or spoon, and she says, go do something, for God's sake. Why must I do everything? I have to go walking, I have to be the house cleaner, I have to be the child bearer, the child minder. And what you do? You think that the only work outside is enough? Is she being abusing by telling him to cooperate and a free hand from the burden given for her? No, I don't think so. But if she is abuser when she's betraying this man and not doing nothing at home, just lay around, smoking, drinking, having fun around, neglecting her children, is she been abusing her role? I mean, role between parentheses. Yes, she is. If she chooses to stay in the relationship, she is abusing. But she went out, then she go away. Pack her things, go away. She's not abusing. She's exercising her right to say no to that relationship. And leaves with kids or not. Because thinking better, if I choose nowadays, I would rather save my mother than sons and daughters. Sincerely, I made a mistake. My mother had warned me before she died. So, as a practical matter, again, leave esoteric side. Look to what is best for you. The situation where you are being abused, at the very least, what you will do to stop the abuse. So, it all is all relative to what the other doing. What do you judge as abuse? For even abuse is abused when his abuse allowed it to continue. This is not healing the abuser, but damaging. For if the abuser finds that his abuse is acceptable, what has he learned? Yet, if the abuser finds that his abuse will be accepted no more, what has he been allowed to discover? Therefore, treating others with love does not necessarily mean allowing others to do as they wish. Yeah, he must not allow her to abuse him, like slap him. If he doesn't slap her, he cannot do this. This is very not good. Unless she wants to defend herself from his physical abuse, then it's another story. She's defending, not attacking. But there's people, women who like to also abuse men. That's true. Slap, push. It's not nice. It's ridiculous. So everything is relative to what the other person is doing. It's also objective. Therefore, treating others with love does not necessarily mean allowing others to do as they wish. We must allow them to do as they wish as long as they are not abusing you. But the time that they start to abuse you, you must say stop. You cannot go on. Either emotional abuse or physical. Parents learn this early with children. Adults are not so quick to learn it with other adults. No nation with a nation. Yet these pots cannot be allowed to flourish, but must be stopped in their despotism. Love of self and love of the despot demands it. Just carry on, man. Go live. If she really abusing you, then change your life, change your relationship, leave her. This is the answer to your question. The same thing to the human. You are being abused, leave this trash mill. If your love is all there is, how can men ever justify war? This is the answer to your question. If love is all there is, how can men ever justify war? Sometimes men must go to war to make the grandest statement about who man truly is. He who abhors war. There are times when you may have to give up who you are in order to be who you are. There are masters who have taught you cannot have it all until you are willing to give it all up. So, sometimes men must go to war to make the grandest statement about who man truly is. He who abhors war. There are times when you may have to give up who you are in order to be who you are. There are masters who have taught you cannot have it all until you are willing to give it all up. Thus, in order to have yourself as a man of peace, you may have to give up the idea of yourself as a man who never goes to war. History has called upon man for such decisions. The same is true in the most individual and the most personal relationships. Life may more than once call upon you to prove who you are by demonstrating an aspect of who you are not. This is not so difficult to understand if you have lived a few years. Though for the idealistically young it may seem the ultimate contradiction. In more major retrospection it seems more divine dichotomy. This does not mean in human relationships that if you are being hurt, you have to hurt it back. Nor does it mean so in relationships between nations. It simply means that to allow another to continually inflict damage may not be the most loving things to do for yourself or the other. This should put to rest some pacifist theories that healthy love requires no forceful response to what you consider evil. The discussion here turns esoteric once more, because no serious exploration of this statement can ignore the word evil and the value judgments it invites. In truth, there is nothing evil, only objective phenomena and experience. Yet, your very purpose in life requires you to select from the growing collections of endless phenomena a scattered few which you call evil, for unless you do, you cannot call yourself, nor anything else good, and thus cannot know or create yourself. By that which you call evil do you define yourself, and by that which you call good. The biggest evil would be therefore be to declare nothing evil at all. You insist in this life in the world of the relative, where one thing can exist only insofar as it relates to another. This is at one and the same time both the function and the purpose of relationships, to provide a field of experience within which you find yourself, define yourself, and if you choose, constantly recreate who you are. Choosing to be godlike does not mean you choose to be a martyr, and it certainly does not mean you choose to be a victim. On your way to mastery, when all possibility of hurt, damage, and a loss is eliminated, it would be well to recognize the hurt, damage, and a loss as part of your experience and decide who you are in relationship to it. I would not like to marry one cry whine mean like that. Cry too much, whine too much. Yes, in some time for the things that they cannot get, because they cannot get their way, they must go there and cry wolf. Yes, the things that others think, say, or do will sometimes hurt you until they do not anymore. What will you get from here to there most quickly is total honesty, being willing to assert task knowledge and declare exactly how you feel about a thing. Say your truth kindly but fully and completely. Live your truth gently but totally and consistently. Change your truth easily and quickly when your experience brings you new clarity. No one in right mind, least of all God, would tell you when you are hurt in a relationship to stand aside from it, cause it to mean nothing. If you are now hurting, it's too late to cause it to mean nothing. Your task now is to decide what does mean and to demonstrate that. For in so doing, you choose and become who you seek to be. So I don't have to be long-suffering wife or the belittled husband or the victim of any relationships in order to render them holy or to make me pleasing in the eyes of God. Surely not, man. Surely not. That's absurd. That's ridiculous. You don't have to suffer just to please others in their culture, whatever. That's stupid. If you are intelligent, you wouldn't allow it. Good grief, of course not. And I don't have to put up with attacks on my dignity, assaults on my pride, oh my God, on his male pride, damage to my psyche and wounds to my heart, oh my God, that's because I want a sex today. And then Nancy, Marianne say, I don't want sex, I have a headache today, honey. Ah, you ungrateful woman, you hurt my pride, you hurt my feelings. You're just like another, some kind of touchy, winning, cheeky males that follows religion somewhere who cannot have their feelings hurted because they are males, their ego. No. So assaults on my, so I don't have to put up attacks on my dignity, assaults on my pride, damage to my psyche, and wounds to my heart, in order to say that I gave it my best in a relationship, did my duty, or met my obligation in the eyes of God and man. Not for 1 minute. Then pray God, tell me what promises should I make in a relationship? What agreements must I keep? What obligations do relationships carry? What guidelines should I look at inside yourself, you moron? Do what's correct. Don't take advantage of others. Don't exploit others. Help around the house. Help your children. Help to change their diapers. Help to feed your child. Help to bring the money. Your wife also should chip in to do the same. It's given and taken a relationship. It's not allow other people to do it all for you. What you take only 1/8 of all the responsibilities and duties. You expect other people to take all the other 3/4. That's not fair. Then pray God, tell me. So the answer is the answer you cannot hear, for it leaves you without guidelines and renders new and void every agreement in the moment you make it. The answer is you have no obligation, so he get out. If you have no obligation, so he get out. And the woman does have no obligation to look after his children, to bring bread on the table, to bring the food, to take care of his children, etc. She have no obligation also. Neither in relationship nor in all of life. No obligation. No obligation. No any restriction or limitation. No any guidelines or rules. Nor are you bound by any circumstances or situations. No constrained by any code of law. Nor are you punishable for any offense, nor capable of any, for there is no such thing as being offensive in the eyes of God. Oh God, the alien God. So in this case, ask it, put this man's children in a welfare home, sent to government kids. What to do? Because he don't want to take care. Why should the woman take care like my mother did? And also I did it all the raise of my kids. For what? And the male do nothing. So in this case, send the kids to welfare home, because he don't want to take care. It takes two to tango, right? When is to get the ecstasy, to roll the eyes on the bed, the male was all rejoicing, happy. But when the things really get tough, Tommy got going, right? And Mary had to do all the hard work. Is it fair? Surely not. Now Tom don't want to do all the hard job and the responsibility to take care of his seedlings. Why should Mary do all that? It's not fair. Human must stand up. You must stand up for your rights. And I do see who are in favor of this male, so go and do what the other humans are go through. Go and raise this man's children for you to see. 3, 4 of them. Go on. Do. And tomorrow, most of the time, they don't acknowledge you and they are not grateful to you. At least the majority. I've heard this before, this there are no rules kind of religion, that's spiritual anarchy. I don't see how that can work. So why are you winning? The say one thing is wrong, say another thing is wrong. So what do you expect? You are just looking for trouble and look for judging and criticize everything. You are not satisfied with yourself. So those the problems yourself, not the others. There is no way it cannot work if you are about the business of create yourself. If, on the other hand, you imagine yourself to be about the task of trying to be what someone else wants you to be, so what about the woman also who are being what the male wanna be? If he is trying to make the woman to be what he wants her to be. The absence of rules or guidelines might indeed make things difficult. Yet, the thinking mind begs to ask, if God has a way she wants me to be, why didn't she simply create me in that way to begin with? Why all this struggle for me to overcome who I am in order for me to become what God wants me to be? This is the probing mind demands to know, and rightly so, for it is a proper inquiry. The religionists would have you believe that I created you as less than who I am, so that you could have the chance to become as who I am, working against all odds, and I might add against every natural tendency I'm supposed to have given you. Are you the cosmos? Because if you are the cosmos, yeah, you have given all this. You are not the cosmos, so you have not given nothing, you have just copied from the cosmos. Among the so-called natural tendencies is the tendency to sin. You are taught that you were born in sin, that you will die in sin, and that to sin is your nature. One of your religions even teaches you that you can do nothing about this. Your only actions are irrelevant and meaningless. It's arrogant to think that by some actions of yours you can get to heaven. There is only one way to heaven, salvation, and that is through no undertake of your own, but through the grace granted you by God through acceptance of His Son as your intermediary. And let's go for about almost all our religion, not just Christianity. So let's not grill Christianity alone here. Once this is done, you are saved. Until it is done, nothing that you do, not the life you live, not the choices you make, not anything you undertake of your own will in any effort to improve yourself or render you worthy, has in effect bears an influence. You are incapable of rendering yourself worthy because you are inherently unworthy. You were created in that way. Why? God only knows. Perhaps He made a mistake. Perhaps He didn't get it right. Maybe He wishes He could have it all to do over again. He could have it all to do. He have done it all over again. But there it is. What to do? You are making mock of me. No, you are mocking me. You are making mock of me. You are saying that I, God, made inherently imperfect beings. then have demanded of them to be perfect or face damnation. This man is very cocky, very irritating and judgmental. You are saying then that somewhere several thousand years into the world's experience, I relented, say that from then on you didn't necessarily have to be good. You simply had to feel bad when you were not being good and accept as your savior the one being who could always be perfect, thus satisfying my hunger for perfection. You are saying that my son, who you call the one perfect one, has saved you from your own imperfection, the imperfection I gave you. In other words, God's Son has saved you from what his Father did. Ooh, this is how you, many of you say, I've set it up. Now who is mocking who? So I'm gonna repeat. You are saying then that somewhere several thousand years into the world's experience, I relented, saying that from then on you didn't necessarily have to be good. You simply had to feel bad when you were not being good, and acceptance your savior, the one being who could always be perfect, do satisfy my hunger for perfection. You are saying that my son, so he's in key, because Jesus to me is Mahadak, or he could be Jehovah and live, and this one is his son. Who you call the one perfect one. I saved you from your own imperfection, the imperfection I gave you. In other words, God's Son has saved you from what his Father did. This is how you many of you say I've set it up. Now who is mocking who? I think he is in Kia, Luciferian. That's the second time in this book you seem to have launched a frontal attack on fundamentalist Christianity. I'm surprised. You have chosen the word attack. I'm simply engaging the issue. And the issue, by the way, is not fundamentalist Christianity, as you put it. It's the entire nature of God and of God's relationship to man. The question comes up here because we were discussing the matter of obligations and relationships in life itself. You cannot believe in an obligation, less a relationship, because you cannot accept who and what you really are. You call a life of complete freedom spiritual anarchy. I call it God's great promise. It's only within the context of this promise that God's great plan can be completed. You have no obligation and relationship, you have only opportunity. Opportunity, not obligation, is the cornerstone of religions, the basis of all spirituality. So long as you see it the other way around, you have missed the point. Relationship. Your relationship to all things once created as your perfected tool in the work of the soul. That is why all human relationships are sacred ground. It is why every personal relationship is holy. Especially those the narcissists nowadays who hate mommy and some daddies, okay? All the narcissists out there who think that all mothers are narcissists and parents are no good. So every relationship serves you at some point. But what doesn't serve you is to be in a toxic relationship. And these many churches have it right. Marriage is a sacrament. But not because of its sacred obligations, rather because of its unequaled opportunity. Never do anything in relationship out of a sense of obligation. Do whatever you do out of a sense of the glorious opportunity your relationship affords you to decide and to be who you really are. I can hear that, yet over and over in my relationships I have given up when the going gets tough because I'm irresponsible. The result is that I've had a string of relationships where I thought as a kid as I would have only one. I don't seem to know what it's like to hold on to a relationship. Do you think I'll ever learn? What do I have to do to make it happen? So don't go for a relationship. The both of you to blame, not the human in your life. You make this sound as if holding onto a relationship means it's been a success. Try not to confuse longevity with a job well done. Remember, your job on the planet is not to see how long you can stay in relationships, it's to decide and experience who you really are. This is not an argument for short-term relationships, yet neither is there a requirement for long-term ones. Still, while there is no such requirement, this much should be said. Long-term relationships do hold remarkable opportunities for mutual growth, mutual expression, and mutual fulfillment, and that has its own reward. I know. I've always suspected that, so how do I get there? First, make sure you get into a relationship for the right reasons. I'm using the word right here as a relative term. Right relative to the larger purpose you hold in your life. Going to relationship if you are ready, man, to give in or give, not just take. As I have indicated before, most people still enter relationships for the wrong reasons, to take, to suck, not to give out. To end loneliness, fill a gap, bring themselves love or someone to love, or to show off that they can have somebody, that they're able to have somebody. And those are some of the better reasons. Others do so to solve their ego. To save their ego. Others do so to save their ego, to show off, end their depressions, improve their sexy life, recover from a previous relationship, or believe it or not, to relieve boredom or go on a trip. None of these reasons will work, and unless something dramatic changes along the way, neither will the relationship. I didn't enter into my relationships for any of those reasons. I would challenge that. I don't think you know why you entered your relationships. I don't think you thought about it in this way. I don't think you entered your relationships purposefully. I think you entered your relationships because you fell in love. That's exactly right. And I don't think you stopped to look at why you fell in love. What was it to which you were responding? What need or set of needs was being fulfilled? For most people, love is a response to need fulfillment, to mend a gap, to fill a gap. Everyone has needs. You need this, another needs that. You both see in each other change for need fulfillment. So you agree tacitly to a trade. I'll trade you what I've got if you give me what you've got. It's a transaction. But don't tell the truth about it. You don't say, I trade you very much. You say, I love you very much. And then the disappointment begins. Supposed to be, I trade you very much. That's the real meaning of a relationship. I trade you. I don't love you. Rather, I trade you very much. You've made this point before. Yes. And you've done this thing before. Not once, but several times. Sometimes this book seems to go in circles, making the same points over and over again. Sort of like life. Toshi. The process here is that you are asking the questions and I'm merely answering them. If you ask the same question 3 different ways, I'm obliged to continue answering it. Maybe I keep hoping you'll come up with a different answer. You take a lot of the romance out of it when I ask you about relationships. What's wrong? Is it falling head over heels in love without having to think about it? That's stupidity. You can do it once you are a teenager, not when you are old, bad man. That's the stupidity. You can do this while you are young, yeah, up to 28, 30, 32. Above that, I think that you, above 35, you should know where you are embarking into, what you're going into. Nothing. Fall in love with as many people as you like that way, but if you are going to form a lifelong relationship with them, you may want to add a little thought. On the other hand, if you enjoy going through relationships like water, or worse yet, stay in one because you think you have to, then living a life of quiet desperation. If you enjoy repeating these patterns from your past, keep right on doing what you've been doing. Imagine people have one bad relationship, then goes to another. Then the next relationship also ends up not well. They go for the third. Also ends up not well. They go for the fourth, and then so on and so forth, and go the same music again and again. These people, this person never learning. I think these people not something wrong with them, They must learn how to love themselves and be okay alone with themselves before they embark into true, absolute relationship. So dumb. Okay, I get it. Boy, you are relentless, aren't you? That's the problem with the truth. The truth is relentless, correct? It won't leave you alone. It keeps creeping up on you from every side. Show you what's really so. That can be annoying. That's the problem with the truth. The truth is relentless. It won't leave you alone. It keeps creeping up on you from every side. Show you what's really so. That can be annoying. Okay, so I want to find the tools for long-term relationship. And you say entering relationships purposefully is one of them. Yes, be sure you and your mate agree on purpose. If you both agree at a conscious level, that's the purpose of your relationships, to create an opportunity, not an obligation. An opportunity for growth, for full self-expression, for lifting your lives to the highest potential, for healing every false thought or small idea you ever had about you, and for ultimate reunion with God through the communion of your two souls. If you take that voice instead of the voice you've been taking, the relationship has begun a very good note. It's gotten off on the right foot. There's a very good beginning. Still no guarantee of success. If you want guarantees in life, then you don't want life. You want rehearsals. For a script that's already been written. Life by its nature cannot have guarantee, or its whole purpose is thwarted. Okay, got it. So now I've got my relationship off to this very good start. Now how do I keep it going? Know and understand that there will be challenges and difficult times. Don't try to avoid them. Welcome them gratefully. See them as a grand gift from God. Glorious opportunities to do what you came into the relationship and the life to do. Try very hard not to use your partner as the enemy or the opposition during these times. In fact, seek to see no one and nothing as the enemy or even the problem. Cultivate the technique of seeing all problems as opportunities. Opportunities to, I know, be and decide who you really are. Right, you are getting it. Sounds like a pretty dull life to me. Then you are setting your sights too low. Broaden the scope of your horizons. Extend the depth of your vision. See more in you than you think there is to be seen. See more in your partner too. You will never disturb your relationship nor anyone by seeing more in another than they are showing you. But there is more there, much more. It's only their fear that stops them from showing you. If others notice that you see them as more, they will feel safe to show you what you obviously already see. People tend to live up to our expectation of them. Oh, how nice of you to say that, huh? No wonder no woman can stand you, you sucks. Something like that. I don't like the word expectations here. Expectations ruin relationships. Let's say that people tend to see in themselves what we see in them. The grander our visions, the grander their willingness to access and display the part of them we have shown them. Isn't that how all true blessed relationships work? Isn't that part of the healing process? The process by which we give people permission to let go of every false thought they've ever had about themselves? Is it that what I'm doing here in this book for you? Yes. I don't like the word expectation here. Expectation ruins a relationship. I say that people tend to see in themselves what we see in them. The grander our vision, the grander their willingness to access and display the part of them we have shown them. Why must people ever have to own you anything, have to show you anything, and live by your expectation? Only an idiot will do that. Because a truly smart, independent, and intelligent, wise woman will not put up with all these nonsense. Yes, and that's the work of God. The work of the soul is to wake yourself up. The work of God is to wake everybody else up. We do this by seeing others as who they are, by reminding them of who they are. Why don't you remind yourself who you are instead of reminding others? Huh? Why don't you do yourself that which you wish for others that you don't for yourself? Start from yourself. Don't ask the others to start for you and do things for you. Selfish man. This you can do in two ways. By reminding them of who they are. Very difficult because they will not believe you. And why should they when life is experiencing and not tell tales? It's not about, hey, I told you that, hey, you must do this way. Actually, you are doing it for yourself because you want to manipulate and exploit that people. The best way in a relationship is to let it go. Go with the flow, I tell you. Go with the flow. If another is not happy by the way how you are, independent and free, let them go. Let them go. And if they come after you because they want to judge you of anything, then, well, I will go crazy. So, this you can do in two ways. By reminding them of who they are, very difficult because they will not believe you, and by remembering who you are, much easier because you do not need their belief, only your own. Demonstrate this constantly automatically reminds others of who they are, for they will see themselves in you because you should set the example. That's how I do. I set example. I like to teach others by example, and I like to lead by example by watching others. I don't watch what other people say, but what others do. It doesn't matter for me what they are saying, but what they do constantly. Constantly. And the same thing I want to do for others. I want others to live by my example. Like say, okay, I don't drink. If I tell people, I cannot say that, you understand? But if I don't want others to smoke or drink or do drugs, then I should not do the same. Not because I want to show them anything and teach people and then sacrifice my wish for them. No, because willingly, that's the way I want to be. Sincerely. So I become that thing and then I show by my daily model of life. But if they don't like, go to hell. I tell them, go to hell. Go live your life. You don't need to come here and judge me. okay? Because I don't live up to your expectations, because I don't do drugs, I don't smoke, I don't do alcohol, I don't go around play the fool. I'm not a lazy bum, I'm not irresponsible. So you don't like? Go to hell. Go find someone that is your mirror, your image. So demonstrators constantly ultimately reminds others of who they are, for they will see themselves in you. Yeah, leading by example. Many masters have been sent to the earth to demonstrate internal truth. Others, such as John the Baptist, have been sent as messengers, telling of the truth in glowing terms, speaking of God with unmistakable clarity. These special messages have been gifted extraordinary insight and the very special power to see and receive internal truth, plus the ability to communicate complex concepts in ways that can and will be understood by the masses. You are such a messenger. I am? Yes. Do you believe this? It's such a difficult thing to accept. I mean, all of you guys, me have to be special. All of you are special. And the ego gets in there, at least with me. It does, and tries to make us feel somehow chosen. Yeah, I see that you do. For an amazing assignment, I have to fight their ego all the time, seek to purify and repurify my every thought, word, and deed, so as to keep personal aggrandizement out of it. So it's very difficult to hear what you are saying because I'm aware that it plays to my ego, and I've spent all my life fighting my ego. I know you have, and sometimes not too successfully. So the guy would go, and the ego is in there, at least with me. It does not try to make us feel somehow chosen for an amazing assignment. I have to fight the ego all the time. Seek to purify and repurify my every thought, word, and deed, so as to keep personal aggrandizement out of it. Don't talk so much, dude. Do it. Just do it. You don't have to please nobody, just do it what's correct, okay? So it's very difficult to hear what you are saying because I'm aware that it plays to my ego, and I've spent all my life fighting my ego. Oh, but you like it, don't you? I know you have, and sometimes not too successfully. I'm grinding to have to agree. Yet always when it has come to God, you have let the ego drop. Many is the night you have begged and pleaded for clarity, beseeched the heavens for insight, not so that you could enrich yourself or heap honor up yourself, but after the deep purity of a simple yearning to know. Yes, and he goes the right or wrong path to know that. And you have promised me over and over again that should you be caused to know, you would spend the rest of your life every waking moment sharing eternal truth with others, not of your religions, not out of a need to gain glory, but out of your heart's deepest desire to end the pain and suffering of others. It will not end, and a religion is not the antidote or the medicine to end this. To bring joy and gladness and help and healing, to reconnect the others with the sense of partnership with God. You have always experienced it. Look at all donations out there who are religions, all in the wheel, the sewage, the septic tank. All those nations, false religions are down, down, down. National disaster, a geographical disaster, social problem, a lot of thieves, a lot of murder, homicides, pedophiles, corrupt governments, a chaos, you know. Whereas the nation, the north of Europe, who aren't religious, are the most prosperous of all. Switzerland, Denmark, What more? Finland, I would not say Norway, but Finland, Denmark, um, Switzerland, Sweden, and Norway not much, but it's okay compared if Asia, if Africa, if Middle East, if Americas, in most part of Europe. That's the truth. Men don't want to accept. And you have promised me over and over again that should you have yes, yes. And so I have chosen you to be my messenger. You and many others, not me. For now, during these times immediately ahead, the world will need many trumpets to sound the clarion call. Well, that's what means, you know, sound the trumpet. Woo! It's not because it's gonna have apocalypse, not because you have the end of the world, as men ignorant are saying, the religious and dogmatic mongers are claiming. It's nothing of the sorry, rather the clarion trumpet woo, means that awakening. It's time for awakening. It's time for people to learn the truth outside of religions and dogmas and blind worship. And so means used to be message for now during the time immediately ahead. The world will need many trumpets to sound the clarion call. The world will need many voices to speak the words of truth and a healing for which millions long. The world will need many hearts joined together in the work of the soul and prepared to do the work of God. What's the work of God, man? The work of God experience life. And the best way, do no harm to others, do no harm to yourself. Do unto others that which you want for yourself. That suffice. Can you honestly claim that you are not aware of this? No. Can you honestly deny that this is why you came? No. Are you ready then with this book to decide and to declare your own internal truth and to announce and articulate the glory of mine? Must I include these last few exchanges in the book? You don't have to do anything. Remember, in our relationship, you have no obligations, only opportunity. Is this not the opportunity for which you have waited all your life? Have you not devoted yourself to this mission and the proper preparation for it from the earliest moments of youth? Yes. Then do not what? Then do not what you are obliged to do, but what you have an opportunity to do. As to placing all this in our book, why would you not? Think you that I want you to be a messenger in secret? No, I suppose not. It takes great courage to announce oneself as a man of God. You understand? The world will much more readily accept you as visually anything else but a man of God, an actual messenger. Every one of my messages have been defiled. Far from gaining glory, they have gained nothing but heartache. Are you willing? Does your heart ache to tell the truth about me? Are you willing to endure the ridicule of your fellow human beings? Are you prepared to give up glory or not, but the greater glory of the soul fully realized? You are making this all sound suddenly pretty heavy. God, yeah, they put so much, how to say, is a impose things like it's a command. It said that you don't have a duty towards it, no obligation, but in other words, it seems that it manipulates the being and to do it nevertheless. And that's how um, aliens does. You want I should kid you about it? Well, we could just lighten up a little here. Hey, I'm all for enlightenment. Why don't we end this chapter with a joke? Good idea. You got one? No, but you do. Tell me one about the little girl drawing a picture. Oh yes, that one. Okay, well, a mommy came into the kitchen one day to find her little girl at the table. Crayons everywhere, deeply concentrated on a freehand picture she was creating. My, what are you so busy drawing? The mommy asked. It's a picture of God, mommy, the beautiful girl replied, eyes shining. Oh, honey, that's so sweet, the mommy said, trying to be helpful. But you know, no one really knows what God looks like. Well, shipped the little girl, if you just let me finish. That's a beautiful little joke. Do you know what's most beautiful? The little girl, she never doubted that she knew exactly how to draw me. Yes. Now I'll tell you a story, and with that we can end this chapter. Alright. There was once a man who suddenly found himself spending hours each week writing a book. Day after day, he would race to pad and pen, sometimes in the middle of the night, to capture each new inspiration. Finally, someone asked him what he was up to. Oh, he replied, I'm writing down a very long conversations I'm having with God. That's very sweet, his friend indulged him, but no one really knows for sure what God would say. Well, the man grinned. If you just let me finish. And with this, we end up this chapter 8.